Hey everyone, welcome back. Our second guest is a Bronx native who has dedicated over 30 years to the care of mental health within her community. And throughout the pandemic, she's worked diligently to ensure that the neediest patients receive access to food and more through multiple resources. And she even rolled out a telemedicine platform for behavioral health patients to receive the community of care they were accustomed to pre-pandemic. And now she's being honored with New York Senator Gustavo Rivera's Woman of Distinction Award. And she's here to tell us more. Please welcome Union Community Health Center's Director of Behavioral Health, Mildred Casiano. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Rita. Thank you so much for that introduction.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, it's such an honor. I'm just like speechless.
Okay, so here we are in 2021, but we're going to rewind a little bit, right? And we're going to go back to the height of the pandemic and the fact that you're in the business of wellness and healthcare. But let's just share with our audience what that was like for you, making sure that it was accessible to those who might needed it more and needed, I guess, the sense of comfort, because you're being honored for going above and beyond what you normally do occupationally. Mm-hmm. So what compelled you to even take those actions?
Well, I've been serving Union Community Health Center now for 7 years, and our patients are really phenomenal with us. And during the pandemic, in the height of the pandemic, they really supported us. They, every time we spoke to them, they blessed us, they asked us how we were doing. And I knew that we were working in unknown territories. Not one of us knew what exactly we were doing, but the main goal was I needed to make sure that our patient continue receiving the services that we provided. And the idea of first initially doing it through telephonic, we call all the patients at first, and we did that for some time. Then we had the opportunity to have this new platform of telemedicine that, even though it has been in existence for a very long time, but it was new to our community and to our patients. So I just initially said, okay, team, we have to figure this out. We have to figure out how this new system works, because we really didn't have an idea. So we just started to train one another and educate one another. And then what we did was we quickly moved on that, and we started to teach our patients how to even download an app, or the simple things that we take for granted, email address. Many of our patients don't have email addresses or even Wi-Fi. So that was many of the barriers that we were confronted with. And it took a very long time to bring these patients to speed. I mean, we easily could have spent 3 hours with one patient just with a setup, or several times we found ourselves saying, okay, come to us the next day once some patients were able to come in person. But the biggest challenge was trying to set them up through the telephone and walking them through the entire process.
Right, especially when they're elders, right? Because they weren't raised in this, this device era of being able to even understand emails.
Exactly. So we were faced with that, but I was determined we have to somehow, through this pandemic, something that we've never experienced, and it was unknown waters and territory. I said, okay, we just have to figure this out with my team, which is the greatest team to have. When you have a great group of dedicated individuals, then everything else is workable.
Right. And so holding and carrying this title of Director of Behavioral Health, right? What can you just define what that actually means to you, right? I mean, there's the role of being the Director of Behavioral Health, and then there's the role of being the Director of Behavioral Health, right? Because you just demonstrated, just in what you were sharing, how important behavioral health is.
Yes. So My role to me is to assure that, first of all, my staff was okay. That was my priority because I needed to assure that every day, whether they came in person or whether they worked remotely, that emotionally we was experiencing this together, and I would provide them with support and vice versa. So we became our own support system. So I needed to make sure that my troop was okay in order to conquer what we was facing of this unknown. And as a director, it's also taking care of your own mental health and wellness. I think oftentimes we are seen and perceived as, well, you are a therapist, you are a psychiatrist, you should be fine, you know, and that's the perception that is given to us. And we all human beings, we do feel, we have emotions, and we were put at the forefront of this. We were first line responders as well. Front
Right,
line, yes.
right.
And I think oftentimes because it's mental health is overlooked.
Right. And we're actually in the trenches of the mental health component of this virus that, has taken us by storm, right? Because right now, that to me is the silent enemy, right? So there is the silent enemy that we were all trying to avoid, but now the repercussions of that silent enemy has to do with mental health. And so now that you already kind of brought us into fast forward 2021, after dealing with the trenches of having to like bring everybody up to speed with being somewhat versed electronically through the devices, now being able to offer these telemedicine sessions. So how has that helped in moving everything forward medicinally?
So I think that now, as I always says, this is the second pandemic. The second pandemic is mental illness, because we are going to experience the secondary effects, the repercussions of this for the next 15, 20 years. So I think now with the access to telemedicine, and because behavior health has mastered this and we're able to deliver those services much easier, this is going to be the new norm of delivering services. And just another area, instead of just having the patient come in, now we can really do telemedicine. There are still some patients that struggle with the app, are still struggling with getting into the system. Those types of patients, we have them now. We're fortunate that they can come in and we can sit down with them and teach them. So this is an ongoing process. The teaching doesn't stop just because the pandemic has gotten better.
Right.
We have to continue this because this is the new norm of delivery of services in healthcare across the board.
Got it. And so the app that we're referring to is the Union Community Health Center app.
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
I just want to be clear. And so before we go, I have to share, we opened up by acknowledging your award. And I am, Senator Gustavo Rivera is the chairman of Committee on Health. That's a really big deal that you're being awarded as a woman of distinction. So how are you feeling about that?
I am very honored. I'm excited. I like to work behind the scenes. So this is certainly a big deal for me and for my family and my coworkers and tremendously my staff.
Well, we're happy to share it with our viewers, and we acknowledge you for not only being in the front lines, for continuing to be in the front line, and also for leading the front line into acknowledging how important that mental wellness is at the forefront. So thank you for bringing it to our audience, Mildred Cassiano, Director of Behavioral Health at Union Community Health Center. Once again, if you guys are interested in any appointments, they have an app that you can upload through their website. And also Mildred's being honored. So if you want to see her, Mildred formally honored by Senator Rivera's Women of Distinction Award 2021, you can tune into Union Community Health Center's Facebook page at 3:15 on Friday. All right, we had to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to learn about how one entrepreneur created healthier food to eat on the go. So don't go anywhere.